Mike Tomlin isn't using the Pittsburgh Steelers' trip to Ireland as a reason to offer up a history lesson about what the team and the Rooney family mean to Ireland. There's no need. Yes, the team's ties to the Emerald Isle run deep. Yet Tomlin knew Hall of Famer and former U.S. Ambassador to Ireland Dan Rooney, still known almost universally as Mr. Rooney nearing a decade after his death, well enough to know how Rooney would feel if the Steelers spent the run-up to Sunday's game against Minnesota at Croke Park in Dublin reveling in the past and not the task at hand. "This is a business trip," Tomlin said before Pittsburgh left for the NFL's first regular season game in Dublin. Besides, the club hardly needs an overseas trip to Rooney's homeland as an opportunity to talk about what the family in general and Dan Rooney in particular has meant not just to Pittsburgh and Ireland, but the NFL, too. "The education is continual," Tomlin added. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz throws during the first half of an NFL football game against the Cincinnati Bengals Sunday, September 21, 2025, in Minneapolis. AP photo, Matt Crone. And so is the work on the field by the Steelers, 2-1, who face an early litmus test against the Vikings, 2-1. Pittsburgh has been more opportunistic than awe-inspiring through 3 weeks. The defense is allowing yards in huge chunks. Aaron Rodgers and the offense have been remarkably efficient in the red zone but remarkably average just about anywhere else. They've been outgained in all 3 games, relying on turnovers, a momentum-swinging fumbled kickoff return in the opener against the New York Jets, and a staggering 5 takeaways last week in New England to get by. While that recipe was good enough to beat 2 teams that don't figure to be in the playoff mix come December, Minnesota and its defense led by coordinator and former Steelers assistant Brian Flores pose a considerable step up. And Tomlin and the rest of the Steelers know it. Sure, they'd have loved a chance to spend more time in Dublin. Rodgers said he would have preferred to leave for Ireland on Monday rather than late Thursday. But the reality is the Steelers don't need to lean into the local culture but rather the chance to build some early season momentum while honoring the family name. "This game means a lot to all of us, to the league, to the Rooney family, so we want to represent the team and the Rooney legacy well," Rodgers said. Minnesota will have Carson Wentz at quarterback for a second straight start while J.J. McCarthy recovers from a sprained ankle. Wentz signed with the Vikings in August to provide some experienced depth behind a first-year starter and was solid during a blowout victory over Cincinnati last week. There was speculation last spring that Rodgers was interested in joining longtime friend and Minnesota coach Kevin O'Connell. "We've been friends forever, and we keep in touch," Rodgers said. "He's one of the guys I keep in touch with." Things never progressed farther than catch-up conversations. The Vikings instead gave their unequivocal support to McCarthy, the 10th overall pick in the 2024 draft who spent his entire rookie year rehabilitating from knee surgery. The addition of Wentz, now firmly in the well-traveled backup portion of his career, late in training camp gave Minnesota an experienced voice without the potentially unwieldy dynamics of having a future Hall of Famer looking over the shoulder of a potential future franchise quarterback, as it might have been if Rodgers and the Vikings ever got serious. While Wentz was far from flawless against the Bengals, his play featured precisely the type of mechanics, poise, and process that O'Connell and the coaching staff want their quarterback to play with. He did a really nice job of playing point guard, throwing completions, allowing guys to win, and then when number 1 wasn't there, he progressed and found open players, O'Connell said, adding, "I think there's value in JJ seeing that." The Vikings welcomed left tackle Christian Darrisaw back to the lineup last week, not quite 11 months after he tore his ACL and MCL and needed surgery that ended his 2024 season. "Just a juice that quite honestly elevated our entire team," O'Connell said after the blowout of the Bengals. "I told him out on the field, if there's ever a question of what a franchise left tackle means to an organization, I think we felt it today. I think we felt it throughout the week." Darrisaw, a 2021 first-round draft pick, was proud to beat his original return timetable of 12 months. "It's a testament to the hard work," he said. "Grateful to everybody in this organization. It was a long time coming." The Vikings forced 5 turnovers by the Bengals last week, including 3 forced fumbles, 2 by cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. That's hardly a fluke. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores and special teams coordinator Matt Daniels have made takeaways a major emphasis in practice and meetings, particularly with the best techniques for punching the ball out. The Steelers and Vikings tied for the NFL lead with 33 takeaways last season, and they're second and third in the league this year behind Jacksonville. If you can continue to work it, and build that subconscious mindset, then it all becomes natural in the football game, Daniel said. Cameron Hayward didn't think the New England Patriots' decision to go for first down on fourth, and one from their 15 was related to coach Mike Vrabel having faith in his offense or based on some analytical decision that suggested it was a risk worth taking. He also didn't view it as a slight against the Steelers. "I think it's an act of desperation," Hayward said Thursday. "If we get a stop right there, it's a closed-book situation. With desperate teams, you have to be willing to empty the clip, and we have to make sure we get those. The flip side is, if you get a stop there, you're guaranteeing points." The trouble is, the Steelers didn't get that stop in the second quarter, with the Patriots trailing 14-7. The Patriots gained 10 yards on a toss to running back Ramondre Stevenson, and they converted 3 times on third down before turning the ball over on an end-zone interception with 7 seconds left in the half. The Patriots converted 4 times on fourth down before the Steelers made a stop with 63 seconds remaining to seal a 21-14 victory. To the Steelers, the frustration wasn't that New England had its way on fourth down for much of the game. It was the way the defense played on third down, particularly in long-distance situations. On the play before the Stevenson run, the Steelers gave up 11 yards on a third and 12 pass to the running back. Later in that drive, the Patriots converted a third and 10 and third and 13. Defensive coordinator Teryl Austin said Thursday that not all of the Steelers' issues on third and long situations are attributed to new pieces in the secondary. Strong safety Deshaun Elliott and cornerback Joey Porter Jr. missed their second consecutive game because of injuries. As a result, for the second game in a row, the Steelers had 5 members of the secondary who weren't on the 53-man roster last year. And a 6th member made his Steelers debut on defense when Jabril Peppers started at one of the safety spots. "Some of the problems aren't communication. It's how we are doing things," Austin said. "We just have to be tighter in terms of where we are, in terms of our drops, in terms of what our landmarks are. We do some spot drop stuff. We have particular landmarks we like to get, and sometimes we don't get exactly on them. Sometimes we don't break. There's a lot of different things that go into it. So it's really not just one person or one thing." The Steelers' offense has the 3rd worst time of possession in the NFL, which has accounted for the defense being on the field longer. Then again, if the defense was more successful on third down, the offense would have more chances to possess the ball. The defense has allowed opponents to convert 46% on third down through 3 weeks, which ranks number 28 in the league. On fourth down, the Steelers have yielded 6 conversions in 9 chances. They are tied with the Los Angeles Rams for most fourth down conversions surrendered. "We have to be closer in coverage," Hayward said. "On the D-line, you have to get your hands up in those moments. It's been the third and longs that have really gotten us. Our coverage has to be tighter, and our rush has to be elite. It's also no longer a given that teams will automatically punt in fourth and short situations regardless of field position." And Austin believes the uptick in teams going for it on fourth down predates the emergence of the tush-push as a near-automatic means of getting a first down. "A lot of analytics tell you that early in the game if you get to fourth and 1, go for it," Austin said. "As the game goes on, there might be different reasons why you wouldn't. We kind of expect that. Our biggest thing is let's not get into fourth and 1. Easier said than done, as the Steelers have learned in the early portion of the season. We need to keep teams in manageable and longer third downs, cornerback Darius Slay said. Last week, we got them to third down and 1 third down, but they got to fourth and 1s. It's what everybody in the league is doing now, going for it on fourth and 1. Washington, for instance, converted 20 of 23 attempts on fourth down last season while emerging as a surprise team in the NFL. The Commanders also remained aggressive on fourth down in the postseason and converted 6 of 9 tries in their run to the conference championship game. To no surprise, 3 of the NFL's other elite teams last year, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philadelphia, also converted more than 70% of their fourth down tries. I've been on a part of teams that if they could go for it on their own too, they would, said Slay, who won a Super Bowl last year with the Eagles. That's just part of the game. The Pittsburgh Steelers have dominated their Week 4 matchup with the Minnesota Vikings, leading 21-6 at the time of writing. The Steelers had a massive splash play, with DK Metcalf scoring on an 80-yard touchdown. However, it's another receiver that the Steelers lost in the fourth quarter. Calvin Austin left the game with an injury after catching a pass and taking a hit. It's unknown the severity of his injury, but the injury itself was classified as a shoulder injury, and he was seen being escorted to the locker room. He is questionable to return. We will provide updates on the injury as soon as they become readily available.